Listeners to Love
Make
101.
sure your child can live life to the fullest. Apply for a Satacor Life Child Protector Critical Illness Plan today. The time by Satacor Life is
7:01, and it's time for the Morning Watch.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
The Morning Watch is brought to you this morning by Chris and Charles Investment. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles Investments.
Dear, from the Christmas season start, me notice you wearing Chris clothes, house painted looking Chris, plus you're driving a Chris car.
Kerry, you know, says Chris and Charles may get a loan from. Now I'm looking Chris for the Christmas.
Borrow $1 million and get 30% off your processing fees in less than $25,000 monthly. No guarantor needed. Be Chris for the Christmas with Chris and Charles. Call 876-920-4189 or WhatsApp 876-838-9028. Conditions apply. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Alan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you're overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541, or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, parents reigniting the village. In the second watch, Molly, not just another street drug. For our social media question, we ask, who makes up your village? Please share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's our quote.
Our quote this morning is an integrity quote. One of the truest tests of integrity is its blunt refusal to be compromised. Chinua Achebe.
That quote is so true. Good morning, Deidre.
Good morning, Dr. Toussaint. How are you this morning?
Great. You?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Speaking about test, I have a little test for you.
Please,
Ready?
I failed the last one. Let's hear it.
All right. Now, as you know, we'll be talking about Molly in the second watch. Let's see how many words rhyming with Molly can you state in 30 seconds, beginning now.
Dolly, Polly, Jolly, Holly, Golly.
Golly?
Yes, Golly. My golly, by golly.
Okay.
Yes. 30 seconds finish?
No.
Roly, poly, moly, holy. I think I went off from Molly there.
I'm going to ask the judges to look into some of those.
Yes, let the judges deliberate.
All right. The first watch will be back after this break.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&B Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&B Bank will help you find a way.
Bashko time. All the things that you need for your home and price is so low, you would never need a loan at Bashko. At Bashko. Shopping. Appliances, house with furniture and rugs, geese and linens and glass and mugs at Bashko. We are shopping at Bashko. Whether the north or so in the east and the west, Bashko them all over, they must be the best at Bashko. At Bashko. We are shopping at Bashko. At Bashko. Giving you more.
You work hard to make Jamaica a first-class destination. Isn't it time you receive the 5-star benefits? Retire smarter with the Tourism Workers Pension Scheme, a portable plan that also provides your family with financial security in case of your untimely death. It's easy, affordable, and accessible online. Retire and relax with the Tourism Workers Pension Scheme. Visit twps.myguardiangroup.com or call 876-927-4105. Guardian Life. Live secure. Live easy.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, it's National Parent Month. How have you been doing as a parent? Now that you're back to sort of the pre-COVID status, how are you coping? And as a new parent, what's parenting been like? We all know the adage, it takes a village to raise a child. Have you been utilizing the village? Well, the National Parenting Support Commission, NPSC, celebrates National Parent Month under the theme, Reignite the Village. And to discuss the theme and its importance and relevance, especially in today's context, we have online Mrs. Kesia Carr, CEO, National Parenting Support Commission, and Mr. Kevin Bailey, counseling psychologist. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Dr. Toussaint, and good morning, Kesia. Good morning to your listeners as well.
Good morning. Miss Morning. Miss Carr is on?
Good morning. Good morning. And thank you so much for having me. Good morning to your listeners.
Good morning. Good to have you. Good to have you with us. Good morning. Good to have you with us as well. All right, Miss Carr, let me ask you first. Now, as was stated, the theme for National Parent Month is Reignite the Village. Can you tell us what's the thinking behind that theme and what is hoped to be achieved at the end of this month?
Thank you. So National Parent Month is usually guided, as you rightly said, by a theme which I believe captures maybe some of the issues that we're seeing in the education sector and even the wider society. This year, we thought we wanted to carry on with the spirit of Jamaica 60, which is why we have used the word reignite. But interestingly, it also speaks to a concern we have about the level of apathy we're seeing among parents post-COVID. Mm-hmm. I noted that during the last 2 years, we saw an increase in parental involvement in the education system. I don't know if this was because of the fear that surrounded COVID at the outset, or it was the accessibility because many persons were now going online. So there was an increase in the number of modalities to which a parent could make contact with the schools. Since the school returned to face-to-face, and that's this September, we are concerned that we're seeing a kind of attitude among many parents that suggests that they are not engaged, they're giving up, they're frustrated. And we conducted a focus group survey with 450 parents that supported this particular concern. I hasten to add that we know that 450 parents across the country is not a recognized national sample size for us to say anything conclusively. But given the consistency regarding the responses, we thought it was enough to flag this as a concern. We will be going back in the field to do some more delving. So National Parent Month is guided by this theme, Reignite the Village, based on those two situations. And we do this every year because we want to celebrate and place in full focus parents who have really contributed to the education sector over the past year and who, based on their parental involvement in their localized schools, have seen remarkable results from their children, whether it's through academics or social behaviors or both. And we want to say to those parents, thank you in a big way, and to also use it as a way to encourage other parents to be more involved, because the relationship between home and school is critical to the success of a child. And I believe COVID exposed that relationship that has to be in place between school and home if we want the kind of education sector that is agile and responsive and that encourages parental participation for student success.
Yes. Yes. Are you through, Ms. Carr?
Well, that was my mouthful for now. What's your part of the question, I mean?
Yes. Sorry. I asked because I'm having some issues here. Okay. Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. What are your initial thoughts re such a theme for National Parent Month?
So I think it's a great theme, and as I listen to Ms. Carr, I think it captures so many variables. Parenting is the most difficult job on the face of the earth. It requires everything you have and some other things that we do not possess. And yet it is an amazing opportunity to give roots and wings to our children so that they can fully realize their potential. It clearly demands that we use all the resources at our disposal. And the village is such a place. We share the same environment. We have to breathe the same oxygen, use the rivers and the waters and school system and church and culture. So we're all in it together. And how do we help parents? And parents can be biological or those who adopt children or foster care. So it's a wide gamut as well. But how do we collaborate? How do we cooperate in the same space so that we allow our children to realize their full potential? And as Abraham Maslow would say, self-actualization. So I think it is a big theme. Reigniting the village. The strength of the individual is the team, and the strength of the team is the individual. So it's interdependent. So those are my initial comments.
Yes. Ms. Carr, what really is your understanding of village though?
Right. So in your introduction, you did speak to it takes a village to raise a child. And so it does capture that adage where everyone is to come together to understand why child rearing is your responsibility. We believe that this is the single most important role a human being will undertake. But it is indeed challenging. It can be remarkably rewarding, but it takes effort on the part of all persons who will come in contact with the child. If the village is functioning correctly, then
Miss Carr, could you just hold that?
Should know each
other. Just hold that thought, Miss Carr. We're up on a break. Yeah, could you hold that thought? We're on a break. We'll be right back.
Certainly.
Get better coverage for yourself and your family as low as $800 a month. The time by Jan Life Vest from Jan Life Insurance is
7:16.
I'm Tammy.
I'm Wayne.
And we are the Mitchells. Our life is a busy vibe. So Flow Yardan Road is made for our vibe.
Power your everywhere vibe with Yardan Road and get up to 150 megabits per second fiber fast internet at home and fully loaded mobile with unlimited social and YouTube data. Anywhere talking text plus gigs and gigs of any use data. All for a special offer of $4,999 plus GCT. Yardan Road is for the way you live. Flow, Jamaica's network. Visit discoverflow.co. Conditions apply.
Colgate Triple Action. 3 benefits for a deep clean. As a mother, you always want to give the best to your family and to make them happy. With Colgate Triple Action, you give them 3 reasons to smile. Cavity protection, whiter teeth, and fresh breath. A unique formula with a minty flavor they will love. Colgate Triple Action. Find it at your favorite store.
Whether it's a Saturday soup or a comfort meal, a great soup stash to make you feel complete. Spice up your pot at home, or you can link soup before soup on the go. Chicken noodle, pumpkin and cock noodle make you feel better. Taste tradition in a spoonful. Great soup make every day greater. One sip me last in the flavor. Great soup make every day greater. One sip me last in the flavor.
Grace, celebrating 100 years of taste that moves you.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And in this, the first watch, we are looking at parents reigniting the village. And in so doing, we have online Mr. Kevin Bailey, counseling psychologist, and Miss Kesia Carr, CEO of the National Parenting Support Commission. Before the break, Ms. Carr, please continue your train of thought on the village. What really is the village?
Right. I was saying, thank you so much. I was saying that the reignited village would include all villages knowing each other, because it's going to be difficult for us to take responsibility for the care of children if the villagers themselves do not know who are the people who comprise the village. And for purposes of this conversation, the village could very well begin with your immediate family. You need to know each other, which means that you're invested, you're very interested in understanding who the people are around you. Once you know each other, then you can come together to talk about the principles on which we're going to ensure our parents or children are brought up. We have to have consensus as to what are the values that we're going to hold dear. Values vary, but when everybody or the villagers have the same values, it makes the child rearing process easier because there's the consistency where accountability is concerned. When villagers know each other, then trust is also a big part of what's brokered, because we now understand that when someone sees my child and my child is not living up to the standard, or whose behavior contradicts what we believe is one of the values of our village, then that person has an easier time speaking to that child. There will be no concerns from the parent, because the parent trusts the judgment and actions of the other villagers.
Yes, Ms. Carr. Ms. Carr, you mentioned about values. Sorry, it's interesting you mentioned about values. How do you respond to those who contend Chinese Jamaica can end up quite fine without the impact of the village? Because some villages create negative influences?
The truth is, we can't just decide to send those people onto other villages. And that is why we need consensus from all the villagers as to what are the things we hold dear, and how are we going to treat with those situations that contradict what we believe is in the best interest of our children. And it could mean that you're going to, as the villagers, look at a way to intervene in those situations. It could mean getting other resource people involved, because villages have different resources: schools, police officers, pastors, an array of professionals. And so you're looking to say what is in the best interest of the child, and what decisions do we need to take as a collective that will benefit the children in the village. It means stepping up. It means being courageous. But I also know that there's strength in numbers. It is very difficult to pursue what we're saying when you're alone, which is why we're calling on the village to stand together, to pursue these principles, to have discussions with each other, to know each other, and then to act, because it is a call for action. And if you put the children in focus, if you say what we're doing is really because we want to change the structure, the atmosphere, the fabric of my village, and if we have the consensus, it becomes easier.
Okay. Let me bring in again Mr. Bailey. Mr. Bailey, from the perspective of a counseling psychologist, what are some of the issues that you have been finding out, main issues affecting the family in Jamaica today in light of the village ethos?
So there are multiplicity of factors. The reality is that we have come from a very harsh place. We're talking about slavery, colonialism, where we are noted as an environment that encourages shame-based parenting. Shame-based parenting. You work this like your papa, you go breed like your mama, head big like. There has been a proliferation of abuses that we have to contend with. In psychology, we call it the ACE, adverse childhood experiences, physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse. So that impacts on how healthy we are in our self-esteem. You love your neighbors, you love yourself. If you can't love the picture that you look at in the mirror, how can you love your children? How can you love the elders and your brothers and your sisters? So a lot of work has to be done in building healthy self-esteem, and that starts in the home. It should, but again, because of the configuration, single mothers, single fathers, grandfathers, siblings, the structure of the family, it is a multiplicity of systems. And so we have to know, again, what is the best system? Do we have preventive measures? Do we endorse committed relationships like marriages and better prepared to receive our children? We have to look at even before they are here. And then how do we now utilize in helping the families to be in a better place? How do we cooperate with schools? How do we cooperate with churches and the culture? How do we look at that, especially the music as well? So many factors as well. The important thing is that we have behaved our way into this. We can behave our way out of it. Change is possible. And so this theme can be a catalyst that can mobilize us. But we have to admit where we are first and look at our strengths, look at our weaknesses, and allow our weaknesses to cause us to grow and develop in the best interest of the children.
Yes. And Ms. Carr, what are some suggestions, other suggestions or recommendations would you give for those seeking to reignite the village as parents?
Well, one of the things, just hinging on what was just said, in order to change how we feel about ourselves, it takes going through a process that will lead to some kind of catharsis. We need to first purge ourselves. The self-schema is so powerful. We have all kinds of thoughts that we tell ourselves that it really does impact the way we organize and relate to people around us, and that certainly would include the children. So one of the things we encourage is parenting education sessions, attending parenting education sessions that the National Parenting Support Commission hosts every day, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. One of the things we do is self-reflection. And that is a very powerful module that we take parents through so they have better understanding of themselves and to see them, those behaviors or those experiences they would have had that lead to the way they parent, because essentially we parent the way we were parented. And many times those experiences were not good, but in a country where money is also revered, it's difficult to say that, what my mother did was not necessarily the best. It's a difficult process sometimes because money cannot be wrong in our culture. But we take you through that process first before we even talk to you about your parenting practices. And once we get to the root of some of the issues you've not dealt with, then it becomes a better place for us to teach and to help you with strategies that will better enable your parenting. It is a very positive, affirming space because each person comes with a wealth of experience that we also have to value, good or bad. We take the information that you have and we use that. So in other words, we're meeting you where you are. Our parenting education sessions are tried and proven, well researched, and they actually work in terms of your parenting. It doesn't matter what the age cohort is, what the age of your children. We customize the information to speak to you and your child. And we have done this right across the country. We continue to do this throughout Parent Month, and we will continue beyond Parent Month. Just to say that tomorrow, Friday, we will be hosting a parent village in Trelawney, pre-primary and infant. And we will be showing when the village works together, what does that look like? We have mobilized about 18 other stakeholders from ministries, departments, agencies, and NGOs to come to give good information that will assist parents in their parenting. It's free of cost. We will have the Ministry of Health doing an array of screening to include the dental checks, the heart stress test, blood pressure check, diabetes check, with the vaccines for the flu, for COVID, the MMR that children need. And we also have the Office of the Children's Advocate. We have e-learning Jamaica. We'll have the Ministry of Education, and of course, we have Road Safety Unit, and just a whole lot of people. I don't want to not highlight the stakeholders because we really want them to come out and we value them so much. This is free of cost. And what we're doing is immersing the space with good information that parents will need. We'll have PASS and the RGD. And the idea is to show that the village works together when all stakeholders come together in support of children, what Jamaica can look like. And we will replicate this 2 other times in Clarendon and Kingston before we end Parent Month. So there are resources available to parents. You just have to want to be more effective. All the resources of the National Parenting Support Commission are free to the public. We don't charge for counseling and psychosocial support. We don't charge for parenting education sessions. We don't charge when we have to coordinate other services for you because, let's face it, there are good parents who are affected by other determinants like poverty and crime and so on.
Right.
And so we have to look at what are the resources available and how can we mobilize.
Miss Carr? Yes.
I'm sure
we won't charge for those free ads, all right? Thank you so much for joining us. Time is up on us. Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Thank you, Ms. Carr. Have a productive and safe day.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right. Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
In 30 days, the time by Jan Bank Mortgage is. Talk to Jan Bank today to find out about achieving your own sweet home in 30 days. The time by Jan Bank Mortgage is
7:31.
You know what I count, yeah. Hey, me count, you count. Census say all of we count. Hey, you count, me count. Census say all of we count. Hey, we are gonna start from east. Hey, then we reach a west. Hey, the process easy. Yo, please don't just guess what. Census 2022.
The Jamaican census will be conducted between September and December 2022.
You count, me count. You know what, sweet? The new pack Sweet Living promotion. Win great prizes.
Bedroom set, living room set, kitchen appliance set, plus TVs and monthly cash prizes.
Send in 5 new pack labels. Labels must belong to at least the new pack corned beef, new pack Vienna sausages, and sauces categories.
Below the tagline, new pack, more than just value.
Place your entry in one of the drop boxes at participating outlets or enter by mail. Time to live sweet. Enter the new pack Sweet Living promotion. August 28th to November 19th. See the press for more details. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
International gospel music ministers Chandler Moore and Naomi Rain from Maverick City take the stage live at the National Stadium alongside Kevin Downswell, Carlene Davis, Rhoda Isabella, and Rondell Positive as Kingdom Culture presents the Well Encounter, the ultimate worship experience. National Stadium, Saturday, December 10. Early bird tickets at spuropen.com/TWE22. Follow on Instagram, the Well Encounter Experience. Sponsored by Purity, Satcor, Love 101 FM, Grace, Pepsi.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. In the Observer, reining in river polluters, fishers among stakeholders to be compensated for Rio Cobre contamination. Also, Jamaican American Wesmore creates history in U.S. midterm elections. In the Gleaner, Warmington under Ombudsman probe for racial remarks, but MP calls PSOJ watchdog sanctimonious non-entities? He was the love of my life. The next item in the Gleaner, Portmore man killed, thrown from vehicle in tragic end to marriage plans. So sad. Condolence to the families. And then Luke, Jamaica, pastor says move of Holy Spirit occurred at Oberlin High Devotion. Also claims there was a counter move of demonic forces among other factors. Interesting. And then she said yes. Man proposes to girlfriend atop volcano in St. Kitts. That's a hot proposal. Very interesting. All right. Coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our social media question. Who makes up your village? We're asking you to leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
Tiles. It can go everywhere, from your walls to your floors, from inside to outside. Your style, your choice. At Active Home Center, we have the widest selection of tiles, from classic to unique. Shop our new arrival of tiles for your bathrooms, living rooms, kitchen, and more. Let us help you transform your space. Visit us in Kingston at 84 Constant Spring Road or our newly opened location in Freeport, Montego Bay. Active Home Center, more savings, more choices.
Tired of them answer, man. Every single place in the house to find them.
Tired of them? You need to call Rhyme Pest Control and get a free inspection and a free consultation done. Call them at 876-803-1377 or visit them website www.rhymopestcontrol.com, and you can also find them on Instagram. Them deal with pests like termites, rodents, mosquitoes, ants, cockroaches, flies, and that. How is she gone?
Yes, hello, I'm calling about
Rhyme Pest Control, best for pests. Call them right now.
Welcome back, Toussaint. Now, according to a recent Jamaica Observer article, the National Council on Drug Abuse, NCDA, is declaring that drug use is no longer just a public health issue, but a security threat. This is due to the council having, and I quote, received a lot of calls from individuals who reported that they had been sexually assaulted after being drugged with the popular Molly substance. Now, to discuss the related issues and implications, we have joining us Mr. Bobby Finzi-Smith, security consultant, and Ms. Denise Bingham, substance abuse officer from the National Council on Drug Abuse. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good to have you both with us.
Yes, thanks for having me.
At this time. Now, yes, Miss Bingham?
Yes, sir.
Miss Bingham, can you hear me? Right.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
What really, yes, great. What really is Molly, and why is it so called?
Why is it so called?
Yes. Any idea? What is it really?
In terms of the name?
Yes. Yes. What is it?
Well, Molly is a drug that is actually a mixture of a stimulant and a hallucinogen. Those are types of drugs that actually cause you to hallucinate. But the Molly knows that name. That so people say, what is that? Is that a girl? Who is that? Molly? That's a person? People get confused by the name. But it's actually short for molecular. But Molly it's not a new drug per se, because ecstasy is Molly is really the upgraded version to ecstasy. That part syndrome that has been around for a while. But Molly, really, that name came from the shortening of the name molecular. So Molly, that substance now, the danger with it is that it contains other toxic substances. So when you see persons having different reactions, it could be because of the combination of what is in that particular pill that they got. And as we know, it's coming in from outside of our borders. It's not made. Hello?
Yes, we're hearing you. Go ahead. Go ahead, Miss Bingham.
Okay, yes. So that's the whole deal with the Molly issue. So we have persons who I don't know if I want to go. Maybe I'm jumping in the interview, so I'm stopping right there.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how potentially
stimulant and a hallucinogen. The stimulant
which
speed up.
Which means what?
Sure.
What
go
does
ahead.
that mean? What does hallucinogen mean?
Right, that's what I was explaining.
Yes.
Stimulant drugs speed you up. The different reactions to it from different people, as you quite rightly said, comes in terms of the supply source, because people cut it in with different things to lengthen the ability to sell the drug in greater quantities. In other words, the less pure of the drug. So you seem to get the same quantity, but it is mixed with something. And it depends on what they use to mix it. Yes.
So Miss Bingham,
that can include bath salts, cocaine. So they use it in a term to stretch it. Let's put it in that way, so that they can have more of the quantities to sell. But these things, these substances that they're adding and using to stretch it are very dangerous and harmful to the individual consuming it.
Yeah, how dangerous is it? What is the potential behind it?
Well, you can most certainly overdose on it. That's for sure. You are unaware of one. We know, like we said a while ago, we don't know what it is that they're adding into it. So they add a lot of different toxic substances into the pill itself when they're making it. So you really don't know really and truly what you're taking, and that's a danger with it. So in taking these substances, you can become also addicted depending on what they put in them. So that is also dangerous, right? Some persons have issues with memory. If you take it too much, clearly stimulant, you go in overdrive, it actually overheats the body. Some persons experience chills, teeth clenching, dizziness, blurred vision. So there's a whole host of side effects like that clearly would put you in a situation where you put yourself in danger or in harm.
Increasing heart rate to the point where you feel you're about to die, I'm told.
Yes, because it overheats the body.
Yeah.
Mr.
Finzi Smith,
the heart are in particular risk
earlier
of being damaged.
Yeah, Mr. Finzi Smith,
yes.
Recently, the National Council on Drug Abuse reportedly declared, as was stated earlier, that drug use is no longer just a public health issue, but a public security threat. Do you agree with that?
I not only agree, I would say that they are late, very late.
Late?
That type of situation has been in Jamaica for decades. And the type of behavior that we consider not only despicable, but alarming, usually is associated with a lack of judgment, a removal of inhibitions by people perpetrating crime, that normally there would be a limit. There's a sense of power that makes people go beyond what is considered heinous, but I won't say acceptable. Heinous, but there's a point to stop. Recently, not so recent, people have been killing babies. When you reach a point where you have people perpetrating violence on children, you wonder what in God's name could have caused that? Drugs. And the feeling of euphoria that overrides all sense of decency. Hello?
Yes, we're hearing you. So in more ways than one, you see it as a public security threat.
Oh, yes.
Because
there are things when people say that gunmen don't seem to fear police.
Right.
It's a situation where normally their fear of death or hurt by encountering the security forces is often overridden by the sense of omnipotence that this drug or others like it seem to give them. And you would have thought they say, what about their conscience? Conscience usually is associated with memory of the action. And sometimes they don't remember what they did.
Wow. And if they do, it doesn't matter?
No. It's a zombie. If they remember, it is usually anecdotally told to them by admirers of their bravado, who now raise them to a certain status that they enjoy. Me a bad man, me a dog, me do my thing.
All right.
And the fear that comes with it, they find an intoxication of the drug.
Yes, we're up on a break. We'll be right back, Mr. Smith. Hold that thought.
Okay.
Whether it's a Saturday soup or a comfort meal, a great soup sachet make you feel complete. Spice up your pot at home, or you can link soup before soup on the go. Chicken noodle, pumpkin and cock noodle make you feel better. Taste tradition in a spoonful. Grey soup make every day greater. One sip me last in the flavor. Grey soup make every day greater. One sip me last in the flavor.
Grace, celebrating 100 years of taste that moves you.
I've got love in my heart and I'm feeling blessed.
Another World of Worship Wednesday is coming your way inside Alive, 1 to 5 November 9, packed with worship, fun, and information. Stick around for programs at 2 o'clock. More prayer, more power. Till the theme, we feature Naomi Rain as our worship artist of the day. Then at 3 p.m. inside Alive Bible Challenge, ABC Season 3, we bring you the 4th match in round 1, featuring Chantel McGregor going up against Shanice Senior. All the tomorrow will come your way inside Alive, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. This World of Worship Wednesday, November 9, with yours truly, Sarah and the Chirpy One on the family station, Love 101.
Give him praise, give him praise.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and in this, the second watch, we have been discussing Molly. Molly, it's not just another street drug. And in so doing, we have online Miss Denise Bingham, Substance Abuse Officer from the Council on Drug Abuse, National Council on Drug Abuse, and Mr. Bobby Finzi Smith, Security Consultant. Mr. Smith, please continue your train of thought in regards to the whole matter of it being a security threat.
What I was saying is that the heinous nature of crimes recently, when I say recently, in the last, say, 5 to 7 years, have just mortified people. And they say, how could they do that? That's not human. Well, the person who is under the influence of drugs like Molly don't necessarily perceive themselves as human. They see themselves as superhuman. So they adopted almost godlike situation. If you look around, you can track it back. You see, most people in Jamaica look at things in isolation, try to solve them in isolation, and then miss the entire target. Certain things like people killing people and chopping off their heads, and putting these on display, happen when people are under the influence of certain hallucinatory drugs. They're God. So this has been around for a while, which is why I said we're late, very late.
Yeah. Miss Bingham, how accessible is Molly and how widespread is its use today in Jamaica?
Well, while we are still looking to the research into the whole scope of how wide it is, as in parish-wide, it's very easy to get Molly. I mean, right on social media, if you go on right now on IG, there's someone selling it. The thing is, we are National Council on Drug Abuse, our focus is demand reduction, not supply reduction. So there is a lot of work that needs to be done on enforcement and targeting the supply reduction of what we see happening, because Molly is not being made out here. Molly is coming from outside of our borders. So clearly we have a supply reduction issue. And I'm telling you, it's very easy. You go on IG or you go on TikTok and you put in Molly, and there are several sellers. That's how easy it is.
There are people who sell vape, who sell Molly as a side product.
Say that again, Mr. Smith?
There are people who sell vape, who sell Molly as a
side product. That's true. That's true. It's very easy. Very
and
easy.
They deliver it by courier, the same way you can order food.
Oh yes. Oh yes. It's a proper business they have established for these things. So we cleared about
How does it look, Molly? Miss Bingham, how does it look really?
Like
How these Molly tablets look?
They're colorful pills. And they have like cartoon characters sometimes, or some kind of image or something on the pill sometimes. But they're colorful and they look like candy. Very attractive.
Attractive.
It's designed to appeal to the younger set.
Yes, it's for the young generation, you know. It's attract them. So they have to make them colorful. They have to have some kind of, appeal to the young people. So having some kind of cartoon character, some kind of image on the pills, making them colorful, of course.
Well, let me alarm you all. Please allow me to alarm you all, because it's necessary. They're sold at schoolyard gates.
Are the vendors?
I'm sorry to shock you, but
just like vaping. It's not shocking at all, Mr. Face. Not shocking at all, because just like vaping products too, e-cigs are sold. When you go into the schools, the number of e-cigarette devices that they have actually confiscated, it's alarming. It's alarming.
And some of the e-cigarette things are induced with byproducts of Molly.
The young people are getting very creative. I can tell you that. Let me just say that. Very creative.
So they would drop it in a drink or something like that they give somebody, or their food. Is that so?
They can crush it. They can snort it. Apart from just taking it normally like a pill, they can crush it and snort it. They can crush it and have it in a powder form and put it in drinks. So they get very creative with it. They get very creative with it.
Some time ago, there was a veterinary drug that was being used as a date rape drug. The danger is, yes, it removed all memory.
Yes, it does.
So it was a drug of choice by rapists because you can't testify to what you don't remember.
There you go. There you go. Because you're like in a zombie-like state now when you're exposed to that.
Yeah, as you mentioned that, Mr. Finzi Smith, as far as you're aware, what are the criminal implications of giving someone the Molly drug without their knowledge or consent?
Very dangerous, because one person may do little or nothing, might make them feel nice. Euphoria, heightened senses of, colorless brightness. But to another person, everybody's genetic buildup is different, and they may react to it completely differently, which is why I might point out you have prescription drugs where doctors are supposed to decide based on their knowledge of the patient what their system can handle and what another person's system couldn't. This is free dispensation of drugs to anyone that has the money for it. Worse, you don't even have to volunteer to take it. Someone will induce it in a manner that's superstitious, and you find out the hard way. You don't even know what's happening to you. People think they're having panic attacks.
No, I know that both of you are not lawyers, but what would be the crime? What if someone is doing it for fun instead of a nefarious intent?
Administering a noxious substance. But then go further. Now let me really get myself in trouble. See, organizations such as my fellow guests that trying to do their job, they're deeply underfunded.
Woefully.
How underfunded they are is criminal. For such an important thing, you could lose an entire generation if you don't catch up fast. And her organization, amongst others, are vastly underfunded. Sorry, Mom, I didn't mean to get you into trouble.
No.
That's okay.
And I would we really would need a whole lot of enough personnel to do the work we're doing. You have one officer per parish. That's absolutely inadequate.
Okay. So I'm not stupid then. And the type of
No, you're not.
public
Miss Bingham,
education that
can you
is
hear me?
required
Needed,
to
yes.
at least do the prevention is not anywhere near, it's laughable. Other little things that get big money to advertise something could be better spent in this area. You can lose an entire generation to drugs. You know what it does to the brain? I go
Yes,
further.
Miss Bingham?
No, they're saying...
Yes, sir.
Yes, we're
Sorry,
having
go
a
ahead.
feedback issue. Yes, Miss Bingham, how do you respond to those who say, well, what about marijuana, ganja? You know, Jamaica's now decriminalized that that drug.
Mm-hmm.
And when you compare it with Molly, doesn't it do similar side effects, damage?
Well, yes, you know, drugs. You see the category of drugs. They form in different. They're in different categories, yes, and they have different effects. And like Mr. Smith had mentioned, you know, persons' their genetic makeup is very different. So persons have different reactions to drugs. Now, while marijuana may come with, you know, depending on the person when they take it, could be a stimulant, a hallucinogen, or a depressant. So for the majority of the society, most persons will take marijuana. It is either a stimulant or a depressant, meaning it speeds you up or slows you down. Yes, layman's term. But
Yes.
hallucinogenic effects usually interact when or come up usually when they have some underlying psychiatric issue like schizophrenia. Yes.
Yes.
So for the most part, these drugs are, we call them subtle. They're baby drugs in comparison to a Molly, in comparison to a heroin, in comparison to severe cocaine use. I mean, when you talk about Jamaica having a drug problem, we really have not seen the all what's left. You know, there's much more to come in terms of horrific things
Oh,
happening.
Miss Bingham.
And we're seeing the early stage of
They say that
serious
people
drug use,
sometimes
we're
who
seeing
take
right now.
ganja. They say that people who
What do you
sometimes
ask
take
about
ganja
ganja?
are as dangerous as anybody else. Pardon me?
Wait, say it
No.
again. I didn't hear you.
They say that people who take ganja sometimes are as dangerous as everybody else.
They can be. They
So
can
why
be.
decriminalize it?
Person, ganja can cause. Why decriminalize? That's beyond my scope. That's beyond my scope.
Let me help you, ma'am. People
Well, there's a
who drink,
medicinal.
people
There's
who
a
drink
medicinal.
can be,
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Smith.
people who drink can be as dangerous as anybody else. I know people that if they reach beyond a certain level of drinking, it's a different human being you're dealing with. Very violent sometimes and very aggressive. So why don't you ban alcohol? The United States tried it in the 20s and look what happened. I go
There are
further.
those who advocate for
Sorry to
that.
interrupt
There are
you,
those
your
who advocate for that.
The natural
There are those who
nature of
advocate
ganja,
for that, by the way, Mr. Smith.
whilst it can be troublesome, is nowhere near as dangerous as what I call cosmetic drugs. People make it for a particular reason. They have designed it to do this. LSD was the forerunner of all of this. So when somebody comes with a chemical situation designed to do something to you, it's different from something that grows naturally.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Thank you, Miss Bingham. Have a productive and safe day.
Thank you.
Same to you.
Okay. Good. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. For information or get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-959627. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and our guests. Please join Mr. Stokely Marshall next week as he continues to look at the issues of the day. I am Dylan Toussaint, wishing our General Manager, Dr. Colleen Beckles, a happy, healthy, and holy birthday as I hand you back to Love in the Morning with DJ Parchment.
The Morning Watch was brought to you today by Chris and Charles. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles Investments.